this studio, the title is about is rural mobility living, mobile living. It's really a very experimental studio. Start with a conversation with Antonio about like half a year ago, and also the Yuki. So we all interested about future mobility from architectural design perspective. Antonio is more interested about the vehicle design perspective. So we decided, well, let's go ahead and set up a collaboration and two courses teach the similar subject. So it's all about the future mobility. And so today, I'm not sure if Antonio will join or not, but I have a list of juries or the reviewers online. I really appreciate your time. I know this is a difficult or a strange way to see the presentation, but I hope we can deliver the content through this new way. So today we have Linda from Live Well Collaborative. Linda is a manager. I'm really glad to have you here, Linda. We have Antonio from School of Design. Ed Mitchell, I think he might not be here right now. Director of SAID. Hank, professor from SAID. Chris, he might join later from School of Planning. And Benjamin from School of Art, right? So it's great we have faculty from all 4 different schools from DAAP. This is really great. So today we will have our presentations through WebEx. Meanwhile, I'm also asking one of the students to stream the presentations through YouTube. So for people who do not have access to the WebEx, or they prefer just watch the presentation in YouTube, they can watch there. I just let you know is the live stream will end at the end of the presentation, the student presentation. So our discussion will not be broadcasted through YouTube. So just let you know, feel free to give any feedbacks. You don't have to worry. That is being recorded or broadcasted in real time. The order of presentation, I set up like 5 minutes short introduction of the studio. Then we have a list of students. The first group is the single student project. So it's basically 1 student per project. We have each one take about 10 minutes. Then the last 2 group is the group-based project. So have 3 students per group. They will take about 15 minutes. So that is the first section of the presentation. This will done through just a slideshow on the screen. And the second part of the presentation will be a real-time interactive demonstration. So we will actually launch a game, and people can walk and drive inside the game. And that is a more kind of dynamic ways you can see the building, you can get inside the building, you can even fly and see the building from above. So that will be broadcasted through the shared screen in real time. And then at the end, we'll have a discussion. This will probably happen at 2:30. So it will take about 1 hour, 20 minutes to get there. But again, for some reason, if you have to leave, feel free to give some feedback through the writing, or you can come back at 2:30, join the final discussion. I just want to give a little bit flexibilities there. So the first part I want to talk is just my 5 minutes introduction of this studio. I will keep that on time. So this studio called Rural Mobile Living, we have 10 students, Nick, Maddie, Amy, Noah, Travis, Wu, Christian, Jamie, and Adam. So we have 10 of them. And the structure of this studio is basically based on the future mobility. So what is the impact of autonomous vehicles? These new technologies impact the way we live. You can maybe heard a lot of this hybrid vehicle with a house, like a trailer, like a mobile living. And we kind of developed our research based on this scope. is what's the relationship between the car and the building. We studied problems about rural transportation system in Ohio. We started tiny mobile house. We eventually target to 5 different personas or scenarios, include shared living, working homeless, digital nomad, disaster relief, and tourism recreation. So these are the kind of target audience, target users we want to develop our solution to. And the structure of this course is really start with the collaboration with School of Design, the vehicle design course, led by Antonio. So we have a lot of meetings with their students. We are interested about mobile living. Their design is more focused on the interior design, furniture scale, and we are more in architectural building scale. And we all kind of surrounded with these 5 different scenarios on the persona, like co-living, digital nomads, disaster relief, working homeless, and tourism. So later, when the students present their project, they will talk a little bit what is this persona in relation to their proposal. So here I will not dive into the details of each persona. And the workflow in my class is really start with conceptual design and 3D modeling. And we have a lot of tools available in the toolbox. Include cloud-based computing tools supported by Autodesk BIM 360. So we are able to work together through cloud using Revit, using InfraWorks. So even the campus is closed now, we are still able to share the files through cloud. I think that really be a really huge boost for the productivities of this studio, because we don't have to be physically in the same lab. A lot of file can be done or exchanged through cloud. And also we're trying to push the model from 3D modeling program into the real-time game engine. This is very similar, like I believe Benjamin's game design class, but we're using the Unreal engine to compile all the pieces into interactive presentation. So that's the game engine we use. And then we deliver this presentation with basically 3 types of media: still renderings, interactive model, and video. So today you will see all of them. The still rendering is really kind of traditional poster and we will submit that renderings to DAAP and ACSA competition at the end. So that is a traditional way to present the design. The interactive model is more like a gameplay, first person, third person gameplay. So later in the second half of today's presentation, you will see students actually drive through the site. They can get into the building they designed. The video is more like a screen capture of all the content, including animation as a part of the media. So that's the structure of the studio. And the site is really kind of large compared to other studios. It's about 10 miles long along the highway I-90 of Lorain County, Ohio. And students has a freedom to choose a site close to the highway. And we anticipate the vehicles able to get to the site from the highway, and they have to think about the relationship of their design to the transportation system, current infrastructures. The program is also pretty simple. It's quite residential related, living, sleeping area, bathroom, kitchen, living. I think for 5 different scenarios, each group, each project has a little bit different take about the program. Some of them expanded to a larger scale. So you will see that their details later. All right, so that's pretty much what I want to talk at the beginning, quick, short introduction. And the next one, we'll have, I think, 6 projects. The first 4 projects is individual student. The last 2 are group-based. And I will control a timer, so the students can go ahead. If there's any delay, I will maybe give a signal, hey, your time is up. So we'll all keep tracking the time. So before we jump into the student presentation, is there any questions related to the order of the presentation we intend to hold all the questions at the end at 2:30. So that will be a little bit easier. We can have a general discussion. We don't have to record your questions in the middle. But again, if you have any questions, feel free. We can definitely stop the presentation and answer that. Okay. Cool. So if there's no questions, I guess we can start the presentation now. All right. Since this is online, I think the easiest way is each student, you just take over the screen by sharing our local screen. Then you can talk about 10 or 15 minutes. Okay. So we start with Adam, then go to David, Wu, Amy, and the rescue team and the tourism team. Sounds good? Cool. All right. So Adam, maybe you can go first. I will stop sharing my screen. Then Adam can take over. All right. I hope sharing screen. Let's stop sharing. Cool. So Adam, go ahead. Yeah, I just see Antonio is here. Thanks for coming. Yeah, as I mentioned, if you have to leave in the middle, feel free to do so. We're trying to keep the whole schedule flexible. All right. So Adam, are you there? Okay, I don't see actually Adam is online. Probably he has internet issues. It happened before. Why not we do this way? Who is the one after Adam? I think that's David, right? Yes. So David, how about you go first? Then we have Wu, and if Adam show up at the end, I will add him at the end. Sounds good?
Okay.
Okay, so David, it's your turn.
Alrighty. Just move that. All right. Does it look good?
Yep.
Alrighty. My name is David Wade. I'm obviously the mobile co-living persona.
Are you making the screen larger or the zoom in? Use Control Plus.
Yep. Well, I was gonna maximize each as I go through them. So.
Okay.
There we go. Obviously, I'm gonna start the presentation with the video I made. It's basically just gonna explain what co-living is, just so you get a general idea of it. Because obviously, jumping into mobile co-living is a little bit extra. So I'll play this real quick. You guys see this?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Good.
Yeah, I don't think the sound is getting through. We saw the image.
Oh. Okay.
It's muted. The sound.
Huh.
You can see the
Yeah, I just muted it. Sorry, because you said something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something with.
Yeah, it's all right. I think you can talk.
Yeah, I'll just hear. I actually pulled up the presentation into the link as well, so I can just go through it.
David, this is Christian
what's up?
speaking. Do you want me to play it? It will capture the audio if I play it.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
I'll stop sharing real quick.
So Christian, you want to take over the share screen?
Yeah, I will here in a second.
Yeah.
All right, let me know when my screen's being shared.
It is.
Co-living is a new and developing style of living that brings individuals to.
Second, he's really quiet. I know exactly why.
Co-living is a new and developing style of living that brings individuals.
Yeah, I don't think the audio is being transferred.
The goal of these spaces is to provide a home for those seeking one, but also
That's all right. I think maybe David, you can just talk over, explain what are these videos.
Oh, it's
yeah,
being
I think
broadcasted on the stream though, not here.
yeah. I think it must be the YBX has a different audio input. It only allow one to take over.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all right though. I think I will just hear from you.
Yeah. Let me just open this back up real quick.
All right, so I will count down time from now.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yep.
There we go.
Alrighty. So, since the video's not working, I'll just run through it. Co-living is a new type of living that's been developed in recent years. It's basically the idea of bringing people that may or may not be family or friends together under a single roof, with the idea that they want to, have somewhere they can live on their own, away from their family, but also, socialize, be around others, and not just live on their own. Um, the the main idea of these spaces is to provide obviously homes for people, but on top of that to provide these public and communal spaces that give them a sense of community, with limiting their private space to not be as impactful, um, on what they want to do. So obviously they get out of the room a lot more, and not just sitting there all day coaxed up in their room like we all right now with this quarantine. um, but yeah, the main idea is to get them out, integrate with other people. Another main idea as well, is it's something that it's a way for people to live without obviously renting or buying a home or subleasing an apartment, or leasing apartment rather. It's just a easier way to get some living spaces for somebody. Usually, people of younger age will gravitate towards this because a lot of them, you know, they're a little bit, in a transitional stage in their life. They're going from schooling slash, being dependent to somebody, to now being on their own, having to worry about paying off loans, paying for bills, paying for their car. So it's a good place for them to not have to worry about all of the new things they have in adulthood. Uh, as you can see by this slide, the main idea here, I'll zoom in a little bit more. Click on the window. The main idea is the mid 20s to mid 30s, fresh out of school, seeking a new job, or just got a new job. As I said, the financial situation, they're paying off debt, aren't looking to pay for their own house or rent one, or an apartment, obviously. Looking for people to mingle with, because obviously, coming out of college, a lot of people might want to find new people to live with in a new town. Just some basic things. Obviously, knowledge of basic adulthood is pretty important. A lot of young people these days don't really know a lot of the important concepts to living on your own. It might be shocking, but some people coming out of college don't know how to cook, don't know how to clean, don't know how to manage themselves financially. So these are all things that can be worked on in this space. And here's just another example I've taken a look at from previous years. And in my project, I look to dive into that and bring it to the mobile aspect as well for this studio. And I can pull up the main PowerPoint, a little better detail. Sorry, my internet's a little bit slow today. There we go. Can you see this? Double check. Are you able to see the mobile co-living screen?
Yes.
Alrighty, good. Thank you. Sorry. But yeah, so this is just a little rundown of what co-living is. Obviously, what I just explained. Unfortunately, the video didn't work. But my personas for this, Skyline and Briar, like I said before, they're both in their mid-20s, fresh out of college. Skyline's obviously an idea that I made at the beginning of semester and didn't realize how important this kind of person would be in this time period at the end of the semester, obviously. She's a nurse. Geriatric care, obviously, with this virus situation, she would be a very important person right now. Wants to be able to, her goals or specific requirements would be able to drive to patients' houses. Needs to be able to cook and clean in her own vehicle. sleep as well, and requires storage for her own medical equipment. Briar, on the other hand, he is in computer programming, so his job is a little bit less important right now, but he needs some workspace for his laptop so he can work from home. Doesn't require immediate access to Cook, but still wants it. He also has a dog named Willow, which he would like to keep to him. But yeah, those are my two personas for this project. The goal is develop a co-living style of living that allows for mobile living conditions and a hub to connect to. And then this is the programming. You can tell by the programming, the purple is the vehicle, the mobile part. The green is their individual units within the hub. The orange is their communal space for everybody to use. And then obviously utility, the blue, which is like laundry, mechanical. The communal space features the kitchen, pantry, dining room, library, and gym, so recreational spaces. And with this design, I wanted to have the potential for expansion because obviously with mobile living could very much be a booming thing in the future. It would be nice to be able to expand on these facilities and add more people to them. The location obviously is along I-90. It's at the exit of Highway 57, right next to another apartment building. The blue line in this image is just depicting the path to the site from the highway. Here's the first rendering of the building. This is the north side, obviously the more open side, opposite of where the vehicles would dock onto the building. So from this point, you see the living rooms, the recreational spaces up top, and obviously the porch space. Here's the south side, which is the side you see, obviously, where they connect to the vehicles, how they set up into those 3 on one side, 3 on the other spaces. Just another site plan of what's going on. There's I obviously included car parking because, some people still might want to have a car, or maybe they have guests that want to visit. So it's kind of important to have space for them as well. This is the unit plan. So to the left in the purple is obviously the vehicle with a half bath, small kitchenette, their bed, obviously driver's seat, and the side door for them to get in and out quickly. The hub to the right has a little bit of a breakout space, full bathroom with a walk-in closet, and obviously office space with desk and cabinet. Here's the overall floor plan following the same color pattern, with the orange being the more public spaces. Obviously, in the first floor, you could see there's a large kitchen in the middle with the dining spaces in the living areas. And then the top floor is purely recreational public space for gym, library, and just, breakout space. Here are the elevations. Obviously, north and south, like I mentioned in the renderings. The east and the west for the majority of the sides where the vehicles would be connected to. And then here's the sections. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is your right on time.
Perfect.
Right.
With all those mess ups or technical difficulties.
Good. So we will hold the questions and we'll move on to the next presentation. I think will be the next one. And so go ahead to share your screen. Yeah, David, you can log. Yes, you already stopped the sharing. Yeah.
Okay, so, good.
Yeah, thank you. We'll go ahead. See if you can take over the screen.
Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, I will try to open the full screen. Can you guys still see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, hi, my name is Vu, and I would like to introduce you guys to my design for a future living slide. For this project, when I start with this project, there was one really interesting information that I found is that in some of the US cities, or most of them, 50% or 60% of the urban space is being used for car park. And then inside that number, a more alarming number is just only most of the American people that's using car as their main transportation method, only 2 hours. They only spend 2 hours on their car. So that means that 22 hours out of 24 hours, all of those car is being sit on the street in the car park or like somewhere else that is completely west of like urban space for like the development of the cities. So this is like Cincinnati. I have like a couple of like starting of like Cincinnati, car park, Chicago, San Francisco, and then other cities. And then this is like the below is like how all of those car park condensed together to make up like to see how much of space it's taken out of the main like core of the cities. And moving on, like I think like that give me like a very kind of like alarming like message about like okay, so if in the future we develop our technology like well advanced enough to actually make the car or like the van is like fully self-driving, so in that case like can we actually make use of the car and then full time like completely move into like living full time in the car. So I watched like some of the YouTube video about like people that already did that they already live full time in their car, and then there was one video and then one quote that is really like stuck in my mind about like that problem. Is that so like one gun so that like I think it can be very really hard when you're really tired and then you want to go to sleep, but you can just not go to sleep because you have to find somewhere else to go, and then that can be challenging to find like a very safe spot to park the car and then feel comfortable with that one to sleep like throughout the night. So looking into that problem, I kind of like think back about like our idea of like our layers of protection or like the psychological aspect of that one. So I think that like when we were born, like as like a kid, we only have like our skin as like the first layer of protection, and it's only give us like 10% of like feeling being secure and safe. And then moving on, when we grow up, and then we put on clothes, like that idea of protection is like raised maybe like 25%. We feel a little bit more like we have like another layer of protection, so we feel a little bit more protected. Moving on into like we have a bed, our own bed, and then we are being safe during the night. And then moving on, like that is like when we move to the room, which is like an outer layer protection of that bed. So it gives us like a better sense of protection. But then when that room is being placed inside a house, it gives us a better, and then the house inside a community. So I kind of feel like no matter like how safe we are or like how much of protection we have, we keep like constantly require like a outer layer of protection. So we not to stop doing that. So when I think about like the problem of like that girl who's like live full time in her on a car and then she feel not very safe during the night, I kind of feel like that car already give her enough of like protection as like a room. So like a moving car is like a moving room. So in this case, I was thinking like if she want more protection, then why don't we think about like putting another outer layer of protection for the car? And then maybe like that car being that protection being put into like a community of something else. So I was thinking maybe like we develop like a system of car park or like a system of like room for like a space or something for her car or something, and then that is being put into a community of like car park, like I would say like a trailer park or something. So this is like my first sketch, like studying of like how like a design, like a size and dimension of the car can be integrated into like public space or like a car park something. So this is like a dimension of a car, and then outside of that one, when you get out of that car, also provide like two more of like function, which is like sleeping area, and then a bathroom area, which is two function that like the car cannot like give you. And it is the best. Um, and then I just playing around with like very simple geometry, like circle, rectangular, and then trying to see like which shape and dimension give like the best of like efficiency and then the best of space being utilized. From that one, I move on into like produce a side plan of like if I put into like a big complex like a community of car park, then how and then what it will look like. So this is like a highway on the top, and then this is just like a very simple pattern of like how you move into the neighborhood or like the rest stop, and then you move like. Then for this one, I have like a very kind of like big and then complex of like service, because I think that like in the future where the cars are being 100% like self-driving and autonomous, then the car need a lot of like maintenance and stuff. So I put on like service that is like flat tire changing, charging or something else. And I also put like convenience store and then like a fast food restaurant as like an idea of like you put in, you both have your car being serviced and maintained, but you also have yourself like time or something. So this is like a function of that service area. And then this is like how I laid out like the trailer park or like the car park where you can have like accommodations for both of like your car and then yourself. And I point out like all of the unit to be point like the new orientation to be like the centralized is I think that like that will give like a better sense of like community. And then I put like too big of communal space in here just to bring people like a better sense of like this is a community. This is not just like a rest stop you move by you move in and then you leave or something. And then so this is the side plan, and then that this is the floor plans of like just want to show the idea of like how transparency like there's no section wall in here, like, and then in here there's no section wall. There's no roof for any of this trailer park, this unit, because I think that like the car they give you a very good sense of like indoor space. So when the car pulls in here, like there's no need to be like a roof. It can be completely open. And then it gives a really good sense of like this is like more like a car park, like it's a place to park your car, and then you have like a sense of or like accommodation or something. So this is not like a hotel or something. And then moving from that one, this is my kind of like accent perspective of like how this should look like. So this is the service area, and then you put your van in here. And then one interesting aspect of this design is as like the size and the dimension of the van is already kind of like close to like this gap that like whenever the like people move in here and then they park the car, it kind of like seal off like that space. So it give a better sense of like privacy. So people should not like go inside or like break into and then like keep people very kind of like insecurity or like insecure space or something. And then I got like because since this one is like very open, so I kind of give that want to give that vibe to like the people that live in here too. So I put like this side of the unit very kind of like open, but then it also being like separate from the public by like I could say like a wetland or like a very kind of like uneasy to access area. So it's kind of like open, but it's not being easily accessible from like the public. And that is my idea. And then this is two communal space. Like one is like kind of like open, like half open, like semi-open, and then one is completely indoor. Since like this area is like for rent, which is like you can go, like you can you're already full-time living in your car, but then if you're tired of that, you can go here and then spend like an hour or like a day or like a month, or if you're interested, you can spend like a year or like longer. So it is still for rent.
2 minutes left.
Yeah, so this is like you have like a reception desk, and you got in, and then you check in, and then you also have coffee, and then you have like a small like working station in here, which is like for people that already live full time in their car, they want to get out and then have like some like sitting area to like work on their stuff. So you can do it here, and then here is more like indoor, but then like outdoor space because like maybe like because of the weather or something, you don't want like to be completely outdoor, and then you can just like stay here and then still like outdoor space. And then this is like the service area. You have like flea market space in here. You have like fast food restaurant, convenience store, and then you have like a system of like mechanical stuff that is charging or like maintaining this car in here. And then now I move on into like a design of the unit, I got like this one as like a capsule bed kind of like design. So it only fit into like a bed and then an extra desk, which is still close to the side of like the bed that you have like inside the car. And then you get out and then you get here. So this is like a two capsule kind of like apartment that is can be used for like two people traveling. We got like a bathroom in here, and then you got like a very kind of like outdoor space in here.
1 minute.
Then here is like same like two capsule, but then like outdoor space in the middle. And then here is like 3 bedroom for like a family with like a parent and then a kid or something. And then my idea is like this bathroom of this unit is being punk or like it's got into like the space of the other one. So this bathroom, like this space in here is like the bathroom for like that unit. So same with here, like this space bathroom is being punched into that one. So it gives like a larger sense, like a sense of like, okay, I have more space. Like my unit is like bigger or like larger. Like instead, it's not like that. It still get the same. And then I think that is all I have for like this design.
All right. Right on time. Thank you all. All right. Cool. So let's move on to next project, Amy. And after Amy, we'll have Adam. Okay, so Amy, now you can go ahead, take over the screen.
You see my screen right now?
Yes.
So my project is designed for working homeless people that I focus on. So like the early semester, we got a little research about how the working homeless people they live, and this is my persona for reference. So the working homeless people, they have a job, but they can't afford to, they don't have the pay, it's cannot afford them to buy the house or rent an apartment. So they have to live in their car or van for their everyday life, or something like they have their trouble for them house right now and it's too hard to rent apartment or get a house, so they choose to live in the RVs or something like that. So my person it's Ellen, who's an English professor, have 2 dogs around 60, got married, and she living with her husband in a van every day and parking in the cabins. So this project is partner with ID student, and this is one design from them that we talked before and relate with my design too. So this is a car concept. The car, basically, we keep in the bed in the car, but the bed is small. It's a single size bed, and a little area for them to store the clothes and stuff, and also space for them to sit. Also, the car will include a toilet and a sink, and a little space for them to warm the food and the water. And for hub concept, basically supports a mobile home and get them to have more convenience life and safety parking space. Also, is a comfortable space for them to stay overnight, re, 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 relax, and easy for them to have a home. And this is my concept based on many needs and budget. So I have 3 choices. And first one, and first choice have more community space. In the community space will be red, and they have less space for their personal hub, and they can share in their life in the community space if they want. In the second choice, the budget got a little bit higher, and they got more private space and mid-size community space. And the third choice, it's a luxury one, more like a full function apartment. It can be a house. So for them who have more higher budget and to get more used to living on. So this is my site. Our site is along with I-90 highway. And the right line, it's how to get to my site and get off. And this is my site from the picture. That's my site plan. So so let me introduce my choices. This is my first choice. It's a lower budget, so they have small personal space, less rent, but have large community space that they can do their laundries and have televisions, they can rest, and also study room or office they can use when they want. And there's 2 cars share one side of the building. So one personal hub is around 150 square footage. And this is my renderings. Oops. So that's my beautiful skylight for this hub. And that's the garage door. It's a small space, but also skylight input. And this is my community space. That's my roof plan, section, elevations. And my second choice. Second choice have a little bit higher budget and a little bit more space for personal use. And they got a little extension space for their beds. So a car will attach to the hub by side, and they can extend. They can pull up their bed into the hub to be a queen size bed or like a king size bed. And they have bathrooms for taking showers, and they had kitchen, dining space, and also a little extra space they can use for office or study. And this hub have a mid-size community space for them to rest and doing their laundries. And that's a rendering. That's my beautiful skylights. This is community space for this hub, and that's a personal hub space. And this is overall view for the hub. They got a big shade of windows by the community space to make sure they got enough light. That's my roof plan, elevation and section. And the third choice. So the third choice is a little bit higher budget, luxury can be. So it's about 700 square footage per personal hub. They got a kind of like a master bedroom space. They can extend their bed from the car and also car park at sideway. And they get a personal office area, especially for professors. They need great artwork, right? And they got a full kitchen and dining space and laundry and the personal laundry unit. And also they have a living space and a second exit and the second access for the needs. Okay. And that's my renderings. The surcharge do have a little skylights, and they do have a big windows around the building too. It's a dining, living, and office area. It's my roof plan section elevation as kind of my whole site elevations. And this is my video in my whole site rendering. Is that on time? Oh, 1 minute. I can play my video then. Can you guys hear? So this is just a walkthrough. That's my second choice. That's the community space.
Can you do
That's
full
the
screen?
personal space. Oh yeah, sure. And that's my first choice. Personal hub. I got kitchen and bathroom. And that's my community space, big skylight, laundry space, office area, study room, whatever. And that's my third choice, living room, kitchen, and office. And skylight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So later we will have chance to go play the game, so we can see this in real time. Thank you, Amy.
Thanks.
Fantastic. So let's move on to next presentation item. Here's my suggestion. When you present, can you make your webcam open so we can actually see your face? I think that will be just make the communication feels more natural. So Adam, if you don't mind, turn on your webcam so we can see you. Right. Let you know that your webcam won't be recorded in YouTube. So just go ahead.
Can everyone see me then? Am I good now?
Yeah, we can see you.
All right, cool.
Yeah, if you share your screen.
Yep. Someone just holler when you see it.
Yep, it's good.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here today. So I'm presenting the Stop Zone Living project. That's what I'm calling it. So just a simple overview of the program brief. Oh boy. There we go. So the problem that I'm trying to work towards is long distance travelers who need like rest stops for food, fuel, opportunity for daily life functions. This specifically targets digital nomads and using proposed solutions of advanced housing accommodations with a focus on bridging the gaps between the needs for food, fuel, and daily function. Just expanding the idea of that people who live kind of on the go should have something for them and trying to provide the best solution possible. So specifically looking at the user being the digital nomad, just background about this person. So obviously it's someone who maybe uses telecommunications or works on the go, someone who might be in different places frequently. I even created a fake persona that we might be able to use as a reference. So this is Matt. He's 31, white, single relationship status, and his occupation is online computer network management. So someone who could be working in Washington, D.C. tomorrow, and then maybe in a few months having to go more north to maybe Maine or something. So next, looking at the site context. So the image on the right is obviously a topographic map of Ohio. I use this as a reference point to start looking for where my site should be, because the key factor in my building design was the idea of embedding into the ground. And taking advantage of a hill or inclined site allowed me to get nice views. In this case, at least, eastward facing, westward facing windows. So I chose, as you can see in the zoomed up map, an image close on 90, which is where the highway actually goes over a huge overlook, and underneath that there's an actual service road, which you can see here. And the idea being the service road would be usable with the hub designs added, built behind it. And it really covers a lot of the location requirements that I wanted. So it provides nice views. It's pretty close to the highway, so it grants access to travelers that want to keep moving or have to go somewhere else quickly and efficiently. And it's also within reasonable distance of other supplies like food, fuel, and stuff like that. So looking into the vehicle design, I wanted something that was durable, big but not overly big, and could kind of provide the necessary systems that I was looking to incorporate inside the vehicle. First iteration actually took inspiration from an ambulance, which I then modified and adjusted some of the different colors, textures, and sizes. As I progressed, version 2 is really just about undergoing a major color scheme change, because I was working with the idea of potentially trying to make the hub and the vehicle blend into the environment more. It was just something that I was trying to consider. However, in my third and final vehicle design, I kind of went back to the roots of my first iteration. However, I expanded the idea of more skylighting and zoning for windows so that you can get more views. You can also get more lighting inside the vehicle, which I felt was important, especially considering the fact that when the vehicle merges with the hub, you need to be able to see inside of it because it's an extension of the living space. This is just a quick rendering of the inside the hub. So these kind of multi-tiered systems would provide, if you needed to, you could add a laptop monitor system to work. There's storage on the sides here, and there's even a space right here that can fit a microwave if you need for easy, efficient. I think I focused the most on the bed because this is ideally where you sleep, and in the hub, that's also the intention, is sleeping still exists inside the vehicle, whereas other living is extended in that area. So this is the hub design. It features luxurious bathroom and toilet amenities, as well as comfortable sitting area, a full kitchen accommodation, and the top part here, overhang skylight system, which I'll go into. So this is essentially on the first floor, or the ground floor as I would call it, a load-in area for the vehicle. So you can come in through this retractable garage door. You come in through here. You have a workstation slash compartment storage. So that's kind of the emphasis being on the vehicle itself. You have stuff you need to store from the vehicle, you put it in there. Or if you have to do work on it or repairs, or maybe I don't know, cleaning stuff, you have the ability to store stuff in those table to your left. And on the right is the main access to the hub itself. So in the basement plan, because you actually go downstairs to access the living areas of the hub, we have the full kitchen, like I mentioned over here. We have the shower, toilet, and sink amenities. And then over here, you obviously have the seating area and the circulation to get through to all 3 different areas. And then also something I built into the stairs is a storage unit system, which you can see in a few minutes when I go through some of the renderings. And one of the biggest things I always focused on was like, what do I separate from the hub as versus the vehicle? So the hub is more about expanding on living that you can't do inside the vehicle. The vehicle can accommodate sleeping. The vehicle can accommodate to a certain extent food. But hygiene was a huge critical part that isn't covered by the vehicle, which I wanted to make a focus, which is why it's a reasonably sized bath. So moving forward, this is just a rendering of the exterior of the hub from the back, just so you can get an idea of this retractable slide garage door, the entry, and kind of the way it's on the hill incline. This one here is actually the same, just slightly modified rendering. I actually removed the windows from this so you can kind of see the vehicle actually inside. Next up, this is the basement level of the hub. So you got the stairs here, bathroom, toilet amenities, full kitchen, seating area. And then this is just a slightly rotated view so that you could get an idea of the storage units that are all underneath these stairs. And also to show that you can see this idea of the wrapping I did, which is also reflected on this wall. However, you just don't see it because I needed to remove it to show the interior. This is my first kind of close-up rendering. It's more focused on the individual model and the idea of the embed, which it's basically exploding into the ground and it's taking on the form of the surrounding area around it rather than being something that sits on top, which is obviously something that I really wanted to emphasize. Some of the people who are in the studio know that from the very beginning, I wanted to do something where you go down because going out or up are kind of just the simple options. I wanted to do something different. And then looking on a more macro scale, these are all the embedded units on my site. You can kind of see how they rotate through implant. That's what I got for you. Thank you all for listening.
All right, thank you, Adam. You're right on time. Good. Yeah, so I think now we can move to 2 group projects. The first group project has 3 students on the disaster relief. Okay, so
I think I'm going to share my screen.
Yep.
And then Noah and Travis. Y'all there?
There you guys are.
Cool.
Yeah. Could you grab my glasses? Nice.
Do you guys see my screen?
Almost.
Yes.
Is Travis here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm only seeing a black screen. I don't know. Are you guys getting that?
It's just say starting to share.
Yeah, that's what I see.
Okay. All right then.
When you share, do you have okay, here we go. Yeah.
Look at that.
Good.
Right. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Jamie, real quick, you got the case of the gray box. Is there a way to move it out of frame?
That good?
Oh, that's perfect.
Amazing. All right. Well, let's get started. Hey everyone, my name is Noah Nicolette, and with me today we have
Jamie.
And Travis.
and together we form the disaster relief team. For our scenario, the year is 2035, and climate change has created an Earth where natural disasters are more prevalent than ever before. Fires, floods, and in our case, for our site in northern Ohio, tornadoes are wreaking havoc throughout the country on an incredible scale.
So our persona is a firefighter who's part of an incident response team. So people like him would get sent to different natural disaster locations that happen across America or like states to send and to, for extra help to help like the local response teams if they aren't able to handle it. So they usually work like 2 weeks at a time, like away from their home, or even longer if the natural disaster like requires it. So their car and their trailer that they take to these places are oftentimes become their home, and it's more of a permanent situation. So the ID kit we worked with, we're going to make an all-terrain search and rescue vehicle. So it's a truck. So the truck here is kind of like flexible, so that can be used for different situations. So if it's like a wildfire disaster, a truck could take like 4 people to go fight the fire. Or if it's like an earthquake or tornado, it could be used to search for like victims, and we could transport victims like in the bed that the beds would turn into. Or it could be used for single use, and the responder could simply like sleep in his truck overnight if he's like at a disaster that he can't go back to the campsite. And we have a desk here that would allow for food storage and different equipment storage, depending on your situation.
Cool. So the current architectural solution mostly revolves around really large tents that, while they're temperature controlled, they don't really give anyone within them a big sense of privacy because it has so many people in it. And they also really don't have an established relationship with each other because of their shape being really large rectangles and their sheer size. It's just hard to get some kind of meaningful interstitial space where people can gather outdoors. And because of their size and their shape, it's really tough to place them really anywhere that isn't just a parking lot or desert. Because accounting for trees, you really couldn't put one of these things like in a forest or anything. And anything with sloped ground would also cause it trouble.
In an effort to improve disaster relief efforts for the future, our group focused on improving the mobility of the relief deployment. And to do this, we created this hub-like home structure for the responders that could be collapsed into this compact trailer as seen right here. Through this, these hubs can be hooked onto trucks and transported from site to site. The compacted trailer was designed to take up only one lane on the highway, and it's short enough to still pass through bridges and avoid other overhead obstacles like traffic lights and road signs and whatnot. Once on the site, the automated process of unfolding the trailer then occurs.
So this unfolding process here is origami inspired heavily, and through a series of accordion folds and rushing nesting doll kind of maneuvers, it becomes this greater hexagonal structure that becomes a lot more spacious and provides a lot of utility for both the responders and also the victims to take advantage of, such as showers and kitchenette and a lot of other things that they would need. And fortunately or unfortunately, buildings don't behave in the same way that paper does. So these details have to kind of come into play with these sliding hinges and hydraulic presses, because we want this process to be as automated as possible so that nobody has like a chance to get injured, and so that the process can just be as seamless as possible.
After the trailer unfolds, this is what our responders hub looks like. The walls of the hub are made out of a corrugated metal and outfitted with like a nice durable plexiglass for the windows. The roof structure, we talked about it forming with the same technology that tents kind of use, where we would have poles on the inside of the structure, and they'd be wrapped with a waterproof tarp-like skin that's just pulled taut along the structural poles. And this would really be the only case where people would have, the only part of the automation process where people would have to come in, and we were thinking that they would just essentially zip the roof onto the structure at certain points. The upper level of the hub creates this covered area where the responders' vehicles are able to park underneath, and creates an additional covered area where responders would be able to sit underneath for rainy days or if they want some shade. And the hexagonal nature of our structure makes it perfect for tessellation and growth, as it's copied and repeated throughout a site.
All right, so this is the program. So this box right here is kind of the core that everything comes from. So with that in mind, we kept the kitchen and the bathroom inside that core so that the systems that those two things need like aren't part of walls that are moving. So we hosted like the utilities kind of like the water heater and tank and generator on the right side of the building so that these walls could connect to them easily. And then we put the more open spaces with furniture in the expandable area. And the furniture is all foldable and could just be stored in open space when the trailer is compacted. And then once it's deployed, can be unfolded and laid out really easy and just posted to the walls. And then upstairs, each user gets their own private space, which I think is different than most trailers and RVs because these people aren't probably family or like co-workers. It's like important that they each have their own private area and desk and storage to kind of make it feel like their own home. And then as far as the access goes, there's two doors. One that goes out into the overhang space that's connected to the other units, and then one that connects seamlessly to the truck. And as you can see in the section, we really wanted to give generous ceiling height space. I think one of the big things in trailer living, RV living, is that it kind of feels claustrophobic at times. So we wanted to create double height space inside of our unit. So right when you walk in, the threshold is 6 feet, but then it quickly expands to the kitchen and bathroom, which are 8 feet tall. So you can just walk and circulate without having to like bend down. And then it expands into a 12 feet tall double height space in the center of the unit. And then upstairs, the circulation space is 6 feet tall. So you can and you have the extra height space from the tent. So the users can walk around without having to duck at all. And then their beds are 4 feet, so they can sit up in their little private areas. And then to the right over here, we have the complementary like victim pavilion tent that we were adding to our system. That can be deployed kind of with the units to different natural disasters that can host like victims who are displaced or help with like distributing like resources such as food and medicine, or just like a communal space that the community can gather and like the hard time.
Here's some interior perspectives that we've taken from our Unreal model, showcasing the responders' living conditions. And we'll see more of this later once we demo our game engine. But on the upper engine, we have the private sleeping quarters where the responders are able to get a little bit of space and relax and recoup from the stressful conditions of disaster response. They also get their own desks where they can work or write letters to family members or whatever else they might want to do there. And on the lower image, we can get a better idea of the communal space shared between the responders and also get a view of the kitchen where meals could be cooked for victims, and this area could also be shared amongst other victims. But It just gives you a better idea of the interior living conditions of these hubs. So here, Jamie touched upon it a little bit. We decided that since so many people are displaced from their homes in disasters of this scale, we felt the need to provide people with a temporary shelter on our relief site. So the victim pavilion is structured similarly to an umbrella to improve the portability and ease of deployment for the users. So they essentially just take the center pole and stake it into the ground, and then the rest of the poles are automated to extend outward and the skin is wrapped around it and it forms that shelter that we see there. Here's a better depiction of what it might look like on a site. So these victim pavilions can be outfitted with either they can just load them up with beds to have as many people sheltered as possible, to help as many people find like a temporary housing. They could be used as a like first aid area or just a large like social gathering area, really whatever they need to be. And they also have zippers along the sides so that they can be unzipped and connected to either other pavilions or pushed up next to the responder hubs. So if you need more room for more people, you would just put in another tent and put them next to each other, or space them out so that you could get some space between them, I guess, if that's what you want.
So as far as our site goes, we kind of came up with a scenario that would happen in Northeast Ohio. So in Lorain County, there was a tornado. It covered about 4 miles, and it displaced many people from their homes. And so they needed to bring in incident response teams from outside of the city to help relieve the damage. So we wanted to pick a site that was close to the interstate and the airport, so that if resources were being sent in, it would be easily accessible. And we wanted to choose like an area that was like public, so that we didn't have on a private property, and a field that was flat, so that we could deploy all these tents, and low grass. So that's why we picked middle school and elementary school in the city that offers also like utilities like bathrooms and kitchens, so that victims can use those facilities.
So the site of Crestwood Elementary and Middle School, it's got very few trees on it. So we do see here some trees in the middle of our aggregation. And it's convenient because of the hexagonal nature of these, that they can be aggregated next to each other and account for obstacles like that. And the teal color in the middle of them demonstrates the interstitial space that they have for outdoor gathering area. And the school, again, offers a lot of utility, both in bathrooms and space for overflow if that's necessary. And given its proximity to the airport, it would be very useful for getting victims out of the area and also getting supplies in to help them.
Yeah, and this is just like a mock site plan, but it could be used like to any scale, like large or small, basically, for any disaster.
1
as
minute.
far as parking, so with the aggregation, the units fit perfectly together. So we want users to have the ability to kind of like, because teams like come in and out as they like transition. So we want people to be able to like pull in and out seamlessly. So the truck would pull the trailer and line it up with its position in the aggregation. And then once it backs up, this is in the future. So in 2035, we hope that parallel parking hand driving is pretty much autonomous, and it could be accurate to the position it needs to be. So then after it's located in the center of the position, the car can pull out, the trailer expands, and then the car can get parallel park perfectly nice underneath the trailer and it's hosted.
So to wrap up, here's an example of what one of our relief sites could look like. The interstitial spaces created by the hexagonal tessellation create opportunities for socialization and improve the spirits of the victims who have suffered as a result of these disasters. And it also provides space for people to spread out on the site to get some much needed distance between themselves and others. And with our design, rather than feeling like they are constantly leaving their homes, disaster responders can feel as though they're taking their homes with them on the go. These hubs offer up communal spaces for responders to socialize with each other, as well as some much needed privacy for people who give a lot of themselves to people who desperately need it the most. So yeah, thank you.
We
Thank
have a
you.
video of our animation that's from Unreal. You guys see that video?
Just looks like a big gray box right now.
Okay.
Mm,
But like,
uh,
how many views?
yeah, great color. Well, we should be able to later walk inside the game engine and see this video. Is this the capture of the game?
Yeah, is it just gray right now?
Actually, it's showing up.
Yeah,
You can play. Go ahead.
it's a pretty short video.
Okay.
It's showing up a little like choppy in the on like our shared WebEx, but once we play it in the game, it'll be a much smoother transition.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be able to see it later.
Well, right on. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Great, thank you. All right, then we have the last not least team on the tourism. I believe this is the last presentation today. All right, so go ahead, share your screen.
Okay. Nick, Christian, you guys here?
Yep.
Okay. Didn't want to start without you. So I'm Maddie. I got Nick and Christian in this team with me. We focused on the future of tourism with autonomous vehicles, as that was our focus for specifically camping. We want to show you a few of the car designs that we went with before we get into our own designs. This team from the Industrial Design Studio focused on a Airbnb style of travel. So you rent the car, it comes to you, and you kind of have it short term. It's designed for about 2 people. It doesn't have a ton of extra spaces, and it's for sightseeing. They focused more on a city scale. We have a team that focused on a more long-term stay, kind of combating high rent costs mostly, but still wanted to be able to travel for your job. So they are including a little more utility spaces. They got some kitchenettes in there and more living spaces inside, but it still needs a dock and place to connect to for more long-term nights. And then we have this team that focused on creating a vehicle design for the national park system. So they wanted to include the dog as a member of the family, and therefore included a pop-up dog washing station and an internal shower system. So they have a little bit more built into their car, but are intending to go from national park to national park. For our design itself, we started on research for buildings that accomplish tasks that we felt were necessary. For the Loblolly house, we found it great for its construction techniques and its kinetic skin. So it overall really wanted to be very environmentally friendly. It went up on posts so that it had less site impact, but the folding window cover and folding doors is the part we love the most out of this. It opens up very nicely in nice weather or closes in bad. The screened window cover allows you to have more privacy or completely get sun in if you want, and overall change to accommodate different weather conditions very easily. For its construction, it broke down into a lot of pieces that could be done in factories beforehand, and then was built in a matter of days on site, which is incredibly quickly for constructing a house of this scale. They had a very detailed frame system that went up very easily that they could put together mostly beforehand. They had these smart cartridges, which are essentially floor panels that had the plumbing and electric built into them. Therefore, they didn't have to install that on site. They could just pop those into place. They had the dumb cartridges, which are the panels just without the built-in stuff inside of them. They have all of the equipment that could be popped in and some blocks that were built off-site and could just be dropped in, so that everything could go up super quickly and move on. We're working at a few different scales. So for the larger scale, we took that same quick build technology, that prefabrication, and scaled it up towards this kind of container scale so that all of the things are built with a little more quality control in a factory and then popped on site. You can see how this affects design later in more detail, but this is some images of how that works. For our site ourselves, we are in the same area as everybody else, but chose specifically, there's this existing Black River Reservation that they have a few different locations of. This is their Burr Oak location. It's one of the many metro parks in Lorain County. And as many of us know, the weather in Ohio is all over the place, especially up north. They get snow, rain, all great weather all in a matter of a day. So we wanted to take the technology and the new advancements and how an autonomous car, when it is designed for more than just a car, can affect architecture and create more stable camping environments. So we worked at 3 different scales with each of us tackling a different site. You can see this wooded area existed. We created we found an existing off-ramp that we used. This is the existing apartment building, and then we created a new hotel space near the front and created a new loop through the woods that have a multifamily scale cabin and then a smaller individual scaled cabin. So you'll hear from each of us as we talk about those different scales. We're going to start with the smallest scale of the individual cabin.
Hi, I'm Nick. So yeah, I was the one that responsible for the individual cabin. So the individual cabin is designed for couples or small families looking to get away into nature. Next slide, Maddie. So the building is broken up into 3 main spaces: the garage, the covered porch that has a movable shell, and then the interior living space with the sleeping loft. The car is still intended to be the main sleeping option when staying at the cabin, but the garage then serves as an additional security when sleeping or when exploring the campgrounds. You can have your car stay in the garage. It also provides thermal comfort when sleeping in the car, as the garage can be more insulated in the car, and then you don't have to run your car when you leave it in there. So the covered porch serves as a multifunctional space, providing both interior and exterior space. And with the movable shell, then you're able to kind of open it or close it depending on the weather and how you would like to use the space. So that way on a nice day, you could have it open, have a dinner, have, just enjoy your lounging space out on the deck in the sun. Or if it's rainy, you can close it and then you still have all of that additional interior space. The interior living space offers a limited kitchen, a bathroom, living room, and a small sleeping loft, as I said before. The sleeping loft provides another sleeping option for those who don't want to stay in the car, or if you have additional people, then you can have extra built-in sleeping space. The size of the living space is kept deliberately small so as to not take away from the site around the building. The building is meant to serve as a place to enjoy nature. So all of the elements like the movable shell, and there's also exterior folding doors, similar to the Loblolly house, kind of provides all of this way for the exterior space to come into the building. And then here's some sections of the building. So you can see kind of what I was talking about with this kind of breakup of 3 kind of almost equally sized spaces. And then as we were talking about with the Loblolly house, kind of the core to the buildings that we were designing is kind of figuring out ways to kind of simplify construction. So the way the building was constructed is constructed in all of these 4-foot kind of modular panel system. So that way they can be prefabricated off-site, and then when you get onto the site, you just drop them in. You just need to make certain elements, like you have to pour footings for piers and build the deck. But other than that, it's kind of almost all completely there after that point, and then you just have to finish the interior. And then here's some exterior renderings where you can kind of see the wooded site, and kind of the core idea of it was being relatively isolated, so that way you could just enjoy the nature around the building and the building itself, but kind of focusing on framing the nature. And then here's some interior / kind of exterior renderings. So on the left, you can see the movable shell, and kind of it's set up for dinner right now. So it's a nice day. You can have it open. On the top right, you can see the exterior folding door, and it's kind of how it's being opened. So that way you can allow the exterior to come into the building. Then on the bottom right, you can kind of see the limited interiors with the small kitchen and kind of sleeping loft area.
So we're going to move up a scale. We're going to come to the multifamily cabin. This is designed to accommodate larger groups, but still maintain that direct relationship to the outdoors. It breaks down into these base pod structures. So each pod can accommodate 2 cars. You can see some sketches from our ID designs for where those would attach. You have inside the pod a very small kitchenette and dining space. And then if you have additional people that don't fit in those cars for your bedrooms, there's a folding Murphy bed or just a general enough space that you could probably pack some sleeping bags in there and treat it more like camping if you have even larger groups. But the pods are designed to connect to each other to accommodate even larger groups if the one is not adequate enough. For its construction, similar to Nick's, it's going deep in the woods and therefore needs to be broken down so that you don't interfere very much at all. So all of the roofs, floors, and walls go into the nice panel systems. There is a folding door and window cover like in the Loblolly house. Those can break down into their panels and be installed quickly on site. And everything else is in small enough pieces that you don't need to take any big machinery on site. For the skin of the building, it has that window cover and folding doors like I mentioned and you saw in the Loblolly house, so that you can open it up to include just an extension into the outdoors in nice weather, close it down when it's cold or rainy or whatever may happen. As we know, it's pretty all over the place. And if you're there in a large group and you want a little more privacy during the day, you could always close that window cover so people can't see in and just bug you all day. That way you can, enjoy a nice family vacation while still getting a break from family if that need be. There's also a additional constructible piece that is the plumbing core. Since there is not heavy-duty plumbing in each of the pod designs, that would be an additional luxury, but not a necessity, since many of the car designs included small-scale plumbing, and this is camping, short-term living. You don't need huge, fancy shower system or anything, so it would allow for utility spaces, half baths, and hookups to those kitchenettes in the pods so that they could serve a larger purpose. But that kind of spirals around that pod that core if you want it. It's not a necessity, as I said, but that is an added luxury that could be added to the design. As I mentioned, the pods array however you want. They have a vertically folding door on the shared wall, and each pod has it on both sides, much like in a hotel with the doors that open on both sides. That way you can't open it and just go into somebody's pod. You both need to be okay with it. They are centered on the wall so that if you want to flip the design, you can, and therefore this extended array shows how it could just kind of keep going around the site. You can adjust to the shapes that you want. You can keep it very small if you don't need very many and you're doing small scale trips, or if you have a very large group, you could get a whole kind of family reunion in one of these. To summarize those different areas, the car is on the outside with its bedroom, potentially shower space, and small storage. The pod is next, where it connects with an additional bedroom space, but it's primarily the large kitchen, dining, and living spaces. You could have a plumbing core with pod hookups, indoor plumbing, utility closets, and whatnot, and then mirrored on the other side. Here are some exterior renders. You can see how those window covers and doors open up, and this is basically just a roof at that point and keeps you very connected with the outdoors, and it just continues. Or you can close them down. You can see it here, and then it's mostly screened so you can't see straight in, but you're still getting a little bit of that light. Here are some interior renders. You can see on the left side with that vertically folding cover is closed. It is just this single pod, has what you need. You can still fit more people than in the individual cabin, or you can open it up and keep that space continuing and create an even larger space. Here you can see that kind of relationship between these two scales. Since they're both in the woods, you wouldn't want the loud sounds potentially coming from the multifamily cabin to interfere with the individual cabin. So they can be in the same area. You can have lots of people hiking through this area, but it would not interfere with each other because you get that nice buffer of all the trees.
Hello everyone, this is Christian. Moving up another scale to our largest structure on the site is the hotel. The purpose of this building is to offer more creature comforts and other amenities that otherwise wouldn't be available to the other structures on the site for the other campers, and while still giving you access to the outdoors. There are two units types on the ground floor of this building, a 2-bay unit and a 3-bay unit. The 2-bay unit operates under the assumption that the car is your main bedroom space. Then there's an entry pod where the car docks to, and then you can walk in and out through the car or through that exit door there. You also get access to laundry and a full-size bathroom space as well. And then in the unit next to it is a living room and a kitchen space that are full-size, so you get all the amenities.
Can you get closer to your mic?
Yes. Where you can cook a full meal, sit at a dining table, or relax and watch TV, or work at the work desk there. The 3-unit floor plan offers another bay, which gives you a full-size ADA bedroom and an ADA restroom as well. This also still operates on the assumption that the car is perhaps one of the bedrooms. So this one is meant for, say, larger families or for disabled individuals who would like access to a normal bed instead of being cramped inside the car all night. This unit cutaway axon just kind of shows us the relationship of the different spaces with the furniture and other fixtures within them. The linear floor plan is made this way for ease of navigation. Common spaces such as the lobby and dining room are found to be located in the center. These are spaces that can be accessed by all the guests for complimentary services. Say they don't want to cook a meal, they want to have a hotel breakfast like any other hotel chain would, they can find it real easily. Building operation spaces are also located in this area. This allows for mainly during the construction process for the filtering of all the different building systems such as HVAC, electrical, and plumbing to be concentrated due to the way this building is constructed, which we will get into later. And then the stairwells are located on either end for egress with the elevator located in the center. On the second and third floor, it's very much the same, except there's very little common space left. The main difference is that where those entry pods were on the first floor, with the laundry and the bathroom, instead of having a laundry room and just an entry area, you actually have a bedroom that you otherwise wouldn't have because you can't dock your car on the second and third floors. The units are prefabricated in a factory. They include the building system elements such as HVAC, plumbing, electrical, built into the pods for ease of hookup when they get to the site. The other reason they're built this way is for better quality control of the construction process, and you can put more of the other features such as the casework, the appliances, and the large furniture into the unit, so you don't have to necessarily do that on site. These are about the sizes of typical shipping containers. If we go back a slide, thank you. And so they're loaded on trucks. They are an oversized load due to their width, but it does make it easier for the construction process down the road. Certain spaces such as the foundation, the stairwell cores, and the elevator core have to be poured on site as they are a concrete structure and due to safety regulations. And then the larger, more complex open spaces, building operation and common, have to be built to suit on site as they are much more complex and will house more of these building system hookups and where all those systems basically originate within the building. Once they arrive on site, they're kind of stacked into place like Legos. They have a systematic order to where they're supposed to be. They would also be built in a certain order in the factories so that they would arrive on site as they're needed. Not only do these prefecture pods make up the guest rooms, they also make up the hallways as well. Once those pods are erected into place, the facade and other finishing details such as the porte-cochere and roof are added to the skin and the other parts of the building to close out the structure. Here on the left we have two shots of what this guest room unit looks like in the living room and kitchen space, so you get an idea of the fact that it still feels a little open despite it only being about 12 feet wide by about 30 feet deep. But you get that full-size kitchen with a dining room table, a guest, and a place to sit and relax, watch some TV, chill, read a book. And that little doorway there on the bottom left image is access to your entry pod, and that glass to the left of that is where your car would dock, say if it was used for a bedroom. And then on the right we have the lobby space, which is where people can gather before they go out on their little outdoor activities, and offers all the complimentary services, the check-in, the concierge, and any other services guests might need access to that they would not have otherwise in their room.
So we get that technology is ever changing, but it's incredibly important that we still stay connected with nature and not let our screen time overwhelm our entire life. We also get that not everybody's experts at roughing it, so we wanted to find a way to use this new car design and architecture to blend the physical and digital worlds and keep you connected with nature.
Thank you. Do you want to show the animation?
Yes, we have animations for the construction of the individual cabin and then a fly-through of the multifamily cabin. Let me know if I get the curse, the gray box.
I think it's okay. So this is just kind of an animation showing you how kind of the building gets put together. So it's kind of dropping in all of the pieces once you get onto the site. It's a little bit laggy, but yeah, so you can see how it's constructing.
These are all also posted on our class website if you want to watch it without having to deal with the WebEx lag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can kind of just see how all of the panels kind of come together once you get onto site and kind of just piece it all together once you're there. So, yeah.
And then we also have an animation for the multifamily cabin. This one is just a fly-through of coming up off of the road towards the building. You can see how the folding window covers and doors adjust. You can see them open on the side. This is them closed. They'll open as we fly into it because fancy. You can see a few pods here, the kitchenette, that dining space, and the bed folded up, so you have this more open space. This is that vertically folding wall and how it can open up to create a larger space. Another pod has the same amenities. This one you can see the bed folded down, so you can kind of see how that space changes. And then if this just keeps going, you end up with a lot of this large space, and it adds up pretty nicely as you continue adding pods onto itself. Flying away, you can see all these pods, and this is one showing a plumbing core in the center. So you can see what a full radial version of this hub would look like. And then that is all we have for you guys, folks.
All right, thank you. I think without interrupting the stream, YouTube streaming, we can go to the interactive gameplay, which will take about another 15-20 minutes. In the gameplay, you will see 3 projects. Amy's project on the working homeless, and 2 group project, disaster relief and the tourism. And this game also is available to download online. So later we can provide the link. If you want to try this game, you can definitely play either as a single player or as a multiplayer. So we'll put an instruction under the post later, so you know how to log in and play. So right now we are watching, I think this is Christian's computer, right? He is playing now. And for other students, if you like, you can join the session. Just make sure you have your Steam account open, so we can be able to detect you as the second or third player. I think we can host as many as 10 players simultaneously. All right, so now I think Christian is controlling this third person character. Why not we go to Amy's project first, then we go to the rescue team, then we go to the tourism team in this order.
Before I go any further, I would advise the critics and viewers to, instead of watching the WebEx screen share, to watch the YouTube stream. It will be a lot cleaner for the sharing, as the WebEx seems to have a bit of a choppiness when it comes to sharing my screen.
Exactly. And here I just posted the link to YouTube stream in the message. So if you want to jump there, you can actually see the same screen. It's a little bit better frame rate. Okay, Christian. So why not you go to Amy's project first? So we have a system called teleportation, allow you to jump from one place to another instead of drive across a whole long distance.
All right. We'll turn it over to Amy for audio.
So Amy, if you want to talk anything about your design, here we will stay for a couple of minutes.
That's my start choice. So that's the office area, living room, dining. That's a laundry room. That washing machine have some model shoes. That's a bath. They will have a toilet in the car, so it's separate. That's my second choice. That's kitchen room, kitchen dining. That's the community space for the second choice. So basically, just rest area with television and laundry space. And you can go through that door, another door. They can have a second exit. Exit, yeah. The door on the right. Yeah, that door, right. So if you want to park for a long time, and you can use second.
Yeah, actually here we can see another player. I'm not sure who is that person. He's or she is be able to log in at the same time. Yeah, so this is supporting the multiplayer at the same time. I wonder who is that person.
We have two of them in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them is me. One's David.
All right.
At the first choice is very basic one. Just gives them space to store the food, like refrigerator, place to get showered, and cook. They got more room for on the community space, larger rest area with more television, study room. Also, more washer and dryer. That's all my feeling. Oh, the skylight. Yeah, thank you. So actually, the first tries have more skylights
Can
than
you type C to turn on the first person?
yeah. So the first tries have more skylights than the second ones and the third one, because the third one have windows all around the building.
Great, thank you, Amy. I think we can move to the second project, the rescue team. You can use F to drop. Here we go. By the way, all the cars can be operate. I mean the black color car.
All right, rescue team.
All right. So for the rescue team, do you want to talk?
I'm not sure what just happened there.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, if you go up to that one, that is the compacted trailer that you would take to the site, and then you would take the car, come out underneath it, and then you deploy it.
Press I key.
I am. Something's not right. Who's one of the other
That's all
players
right.
in here? Do you want to try it?
You get closer. You have to be close enough.
There we go.
So you can see it unfolding, and then the roof just pops up.
I have to say the frame rate looks much better in YouTube.
So that'll probably take a couple minutes in real life, but that would just look smooth. And then this is our unit. So this is the kitchen area, and little steps like upstairs. In the corner is the bathroom that has a little panel door open. That's the door to the car, and that you could just get in and out of the car seamlessly. And up the stairs, you have the desk space and the private little bedroom spaces for all users, and the storage for them. Each person gets their own area. And then there's some of our responders over there, and the pavilions that are flexible any situation there that they need to be. You open some panels or close some panels, and they can all be connected for individual.
Jamie, could you sit a little bit closer to your mic? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay. Is this better?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, this is kind of like our whole site. And you just, if you can see like where they're connected, they do create like circulation spaces so you can move between all of the units easily. And the cars are all kind of like on one side where they can like all easily drive in and out, and then on the other sides of like the communal spaces are kind of where people hang out. Want to go to the next building? Person?
I don't know if Travis wanted to talk about these pavilions.
Yeah, these are just like pavilions that could just be used for like staging, resources, anything like that. And that's the school that the elementary school on the site that people could easily just walk to it for the bathrooms and kitchen facilities. And if it's like bad weather, I'm sure they could host the victims in the area, like a lot of natural disasters too. So on our site model, we kind of want to create a narrative to go along with our project. So because we had a tornado that hit the area in our scenario, we have this little area on the model which shows that trucks will come over here and pick up victims from their house and take them back to the hospital.
Yeah, we kind of assumed that we'd be doing some more driving from on the highway to get to each other's stuff, but then everyone made it much easier with our teleportation stuff. So our initial plan was to drive off the highway to come here and kind of like introduce our scenario, saying like we'd pick up a victim here and then drive them back to our site. Yeah, this is kind of what's left over, I guess.
Are we driving back?
Yes.
The whole site is about a couple of miles long. So if you really drive in the game, it will take a long time to get there. That's the reason we use this teleportation system. I think you can just drive your car through the teleportation. Your car will be teleported as well. Here we go.
There's
there's definitely a collision. That's all right.
All right, next we're going
Alright.
to go to Nick's small cabin.
Yep, so here you can see kind of the individual cabin. You can see the garage portion now with the folding door for that. And then you go through the door, you can see kind of the movable shell. So right now it's currently closed, and then Christian can open it. So that way you can kind of see it slide open and then be able to have, fully outdoors. And then if we walk through, we can see kind of that small kitchen area, the living space, another folding door that kind of keeps that interior exterior feeling that I was looking for, and then the small sleeping loft up the stairs. And it should be the right arrow to show it closing again.
I was having this issue earlier. I think I have to hit the trigger box more than once now. There we go.
There you go. Yeah, so then you can see it close and open from the outside.
All right. Next, we're going to go to Maddie's cabin setup with her multiple pods.
So here we have the multifamily cabin. This is one of those full array pods. If we walk straight towards the ones that are closed, you can see how that window cover opens up and then the folding doors open sideways. And since they fold on themselves, they don't take up much floor space, which is ideal for this kind of compact area. This folding vertical door can go open and closed. So you can see that connection between the two, or without it if you don't want it, if you only need the small space or if you're trying to get some privacy on this vacation. You got the small kitchenette, that folding bed is that big box right there. It's closed in this shot. I think the pod next door has it open if you want to see the difference in the floor space with or without it. You got the small little dining area for each pod, and then you can see the doors open and closed beside us. And then through that little door is the plumbing core, but nobody needs to see that. But that is where the pods connect to that. It's centralized. It's kind of an open community space. There's that an example of the door fully closed. So that would stop you from going through. So you could have as many or as few pods as you want based on how many of those doors you keep open. And then we can head right back out that door and you can see it open and close again because I'm very proud that it works. And then on the way out, you can even have the window cover closed and that door open if you're looking for a light breeze, but it's got that semi-transparency, so you get the privacy, but you still get some of that light.
All right, next we're going to go to the hotel. We've decided to furnish out 2 of the rooms. First one we're going to see is the 3-bay unit. So right here is that entryway. This is your door for just typical egress, and then this is the car dock door, similar to what the other 2 have, mainly Nick's log cabin. And then behind this closet set would be a set of washer and dryers, and then through that door would be a bathroom. In here we can see the kitchen and living space with the dining, all the amenities for the kitchen, and then a living room space for relaxation or if you need to get work done at a desk. And then through this door we have our bedroom, and then behind that door is the 88 bathroom. And if I walk up to this, it will open automatically. Very similar idea with this one. The unit here is the same, just mirrored. And then in this unit, you don't have that doorway to the bedroom. You just have a closet space instead, but otherwise they're very much the same. And then so the lobby's kind of furnished out a little bit here as well. So we got our check-in desk, your sitting area for your lobby, and then your dining room area with your serving countertop and serving window for your complimentary meals as guests. And those are the Unreal projects within here. So I'll turn it back over to Bing.
All right. Very nice. All right, thank you. I think that's a really quick walkthrough about the 3 project sites. Great. I think that's kind of the end of the presentation. And I think before we open for a group discussion, I do want to share quickly about the screen so we can actually have a little bit refresh all the presentations we have seen so far. And also, meanwhile, Christian, if you can, I think you can go ahead, stop the live stream